Welcome back, everybody, to the 90th episode here of the Pro Wrestling Experience on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. I'm Josh Lopez. You can follow me on Twitter at JoshLopezCSR. Don't forget, Survivor Series is live this Sunday on the WWE Network from St. Louis, Missouri. And to help us talk about it is the founder of ProWrestling.net, the one and only Jason Powell. Jason, welcome to the Pro Wrestling Experience.
Hey, man, I feel right at home. That's like Minnesota Wild goal music. I'm standing here, and I'm wearing my Minnesota Wild hoodie as we speak, so this is great.
Nice. I had to give you a bone because the Bears did beat the Vikings over the weekend.
Yeah, well, that happens a lot.
Yeah. Well, it's not saying
for me, but good for you guys.
Well, it's not saying much for our Bears, but it is what it is. Jason, I wanted to know first. Great success with the website, obviously, and I wanted to get your thoughts. You know, I heard you on the Ross Report, and you talked about how you got your start with PW Torch, and there's been a big evolution of wrestling websites over the years. What's your thoughts on the evolution of rumors and wrestling websites over the last 5 years?
You know, it's kind of gotten out of hand in some cases. I mean, there's definitely a handful of sites that really work hard to try to cover it in a professional manner. But then there's the News with a Z sites that will pretty much run anything to get themselves a click, and you know, it's tough because you're competing with them from the standpoint of they're just, if you have first run news, they'll take it without crediting or anything, and so people see that and they kind of assume that that's a legitimate site. That part's frustrating.
Speaking of that, you know, obviously we have a big star here in Chicago. His name's CM Punk, and I think you made a great point there. I mean, I kind of feel bad for these wrestling websites, and I shake my head at these wrestling websites sometimes when I see a report about him riding his bike down Michigan Avenue.
Right.
And his return's imminent. Like that kind of thing. You know, I'm not going to ask if he's going to come back or not, but what's your thoughts on this whole situation between him and WWE?
Well, you know, to speak to what you're saying, I had somebody send me just Monday a shot of some guy off in the distance working out in a gym whatever town Raw was in, saying that his buddy took the picture and is sure that's CM Punk and he's coming back tonight. It's like, oh boy. And you know, if that was sent to the wrong site, it probably would have been put out there. But you know, with Punk and WWE, I really think it's just frustration set in for Punk. I think he kind of fell out of love with at least the WWE version of the wrestling business, and he just decided to step aside. It was long-time burnout and fatigue and just that frustration level that he was feeling. I think he made the right choice for himself.
Got some big news coming out today from TNA. They will be on Destination America. What's your thoughts on the new TV deal? I know the network was kind of predictable of which one they were going to go on, but what's your thoughts on TNA landing with Destination America?
You know, it's also new. We don't have the financial numbers or anything. I see this as a move that just keeps the lights on for TNA as much as anything. It certainly looks on the surface like a step back from Spike TV when you talk about overall reach of both networks. They do have this, you know, the power of discovery, which will help to some extent if they get that cross promotion. It's Destination America, owned by the Discovery Communications Group, and so if like all of a sudden Shark Week, there's a bunch of ads for TNA. Well, that can help certainly. But what I've been hearing from people is that like it's on a different tier where Spike TV is kind of available in most basic cable and satellite packages. In some cases, you have to pay more to get Destination America. That doesn't help at all. But I think they were in a position where Spike TV didn't want to do business with them anymore, and they were left scrambling to find something, anything, to keep the lights on, and this is what they came up with.
I'm just curious, is Destination America part of, like, Viacom Networks, or is it something different?
No, it's Discovery Communications.
Okay.
It's Discovery actually has its own group. At one point, there was a lot of discussion that they were going to end up on Velocity, which is also a Discovery network. So I believe they had some talks with WGN America also. There's a lot of rumors because so many people in TNA were kept completely in the dark about this whole thing. One upside to this could be there's talk of additional programming. I know that's something Dixie Carter wanted and tried with Spike TV for a long time and just was unable to secure. And without knowing the financials of this thing, for all we know, Discovery wants to make Destination America this huge deal, and they're willing to pay a lot of money. I'm throwing it out there as like a possibility, even though I don't believe that's the case.
Jason Powell from ProWrestling.net is live here on the Pro Wrestling Experience here on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com every Wednesdays 10 to 1 with yours truly, Josh Lopez. Follow Jason on Twitter, ProWrestling.net. It's pretty simple. He's a cool guy. Check out the website. You got cool VIP site there for the fans as well. Check
free
out
apps as well.
Yes, as well. Get everything. ProWrestling.net is one of the best wrestling websites out there. Jason, next thing here. A lot of people talk about when Sting's actually going to appear on WWE, whether he's going to have a couple of matches here or there, or he's going to be a general manager. With this whole Team Cena, Team Authority thing, is there anything that you can tell us about Sting and on screen with WWE?
Well, I can't tell you if he's like the new. If Team Authority loses and Triple H and Stephanie are out of storyline power, and so there's been speculation, could it be Sting? Because he played a similar role in TNA, and he actually did quite well in that role. I wouldn't do that if I were WWE. I'd give people the Sting match they want. I would not put him on television until about maybe a month before WrestleMania at the soonest. You can do a lot of teases. I mean, look at how people overreacted to the Undertaker video. They assumed it was included Sting somehow, and people lost their minds over that. So you can do something like that to kind of get people buzzing and thinking it's Sting. But I wouldn't actually put him on television until at least no more than a month out, because you don't want it to feel like Sting's already just another guy in the WWE television universe.
You make a great point right there. I was only bringing it up because it's an interesting conversation, and then two, next week's Monday Night War is featuring Undertaker and Sting, so I think that'd be something that'd be cool. There's reports out there for Mick Foley. I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not. But speaking of Survivor Series, what's your thoughts on this Team Cena versus Team Authority angle, and what's going to come out of it?
Well, I've been predicting even before. I don't know if you want to get into the spoiler from the taping last night or not.
Go ahead.
Well, it was kind of, I don't know if it was an official stipulation, but Triple H told John Cena's team that they would all be fired if they lost that match at Survivor Series. That, to me, certainly points to Team Cena wins. And that's kind of the direction I've been going in. And I think one of the tells on that was the tongue lashing that Stephanie McMahon gave Lana a couple weeks ago. It just seemed unnecessary. And sometimes we get that from Stephanie's character, where it's like, why would she be talking down to the wrestlers?
Yeah.
But in this case, it really seemed like they were setting something up. To me, it was giving Rusev an out. Because if Team Authority was going to win, then why wouldn't you just have Rusev be one of the survivors? In this case, it almost seemed like they're setting something up where he can just walk out on his team and still be a heel, but get counted out. And that way you don't have to have Rusev lose clean at Survivor Series.
I think that's going to happen with a lot of people. I mean, I think there's going to be outside shenanigans. It's going to be a Donnybrook. It's going to be all the bells and whistles with this match. I brought this up earlier in the show, and I don't know if this will ever happen, but I think it would be kind of ironic in the same building where John Cena became the guy in that 2005 draft in St. Louis. In the same building, he finally turns. I'm just throwing it out there. What's your thoughts on that?
Seeing is believing on that one. I guess if nothing else, it would help explain why all of his teammates were being beaten up on Raw, and he was shown on the backstage monitor a couple of times and never came out to help. But seeing is believing. Yes.
TLC is coming up soon, and I think for one of those gimmick pay-per-views that not a lot of people really care about, I think it's been one of the better ones. You've seen some great matches over the last couple of years. I mean, The Shield against Daniel Bryan and Team Hell No. Dolph Ziggler and John Cena from 2012 as well was pretty good. What can we expect to see at TLC this year?
That's a great question, and really you're right. It can be one of those sleeper shows. I think once Survivor Series ends, we all start kind of looking forward to the Royal Rumble and then just WrestleMania season in general. And TLC oftentimes does deliver. I would assume we're going to see more with Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt. I don't know what John Cena is going to do on that show. Maybe he gets his match with Seth Rollins, something like that. But they like to kind of stagger it where you get one TLC match and then you'll get a tables match, a ladder match, and a chair. I kind of hope they don't do that. I'd be just fine with one big TLC match.
Yeah, and you don't have to put the Money in the Bank on the line. I mean, you're already the number one contender. So
exactly. I hate when they do that.
Yes.
It's the guy earned it. It shouldn't be some. Why would he ever be stupid enough to go, I'll put it on the line?
Here's a Lucha Underground question. I've had Matt Stryker and Krista Joseph on the show, and they've
cool.
been getting a lot of feedback over the last couple weeks. Good. And I'm happy for it because I think in today's society, I think some fans are ungrateful that we still have wrestling in mainstream society, especially with the whole Monday Night Wars and how some other like mainstream companies give pro wrestling a black eye. I'm happy that Lucha Underground does have their show, and I want to support all wrestling companies because you can learn something from every show, whether good, bad, or indifferent. What's your thoughts on Lucha Underground so far, and what can you expect from them in the future?
Well, so far so good. It took me a little bit, I guess only a couple of episodes to kind of get used to the telenovela style that they do with their backstage segments. But, within that universe now, I kind of accept that it's happening. It's not how I would do things, but I'm probably not their target viewer either. So the character development is great. I mean, even if it's a guy like that Mil Muertes, they explained why he is so obsessed with death or whatever it is. I mean, there's really good character development backstories that we just don't get from WWE. I mean, the closest they've come with that is like they're using Bray Wyatt to try to tell a backstory for Dean Ambrose. With Lucha Underground, you're actually getting that for all of the major stars on that show.
Mm-hmm. Here's an ROH question, and Final Battle's coming up soon. Adam Cole will be on the show next week, folks. If you haven't heard, Adam Cole and Roderick Strong will be on the show next week. We're talking to Jason Powell right now from ProWrestling.net. Follow me on Twitter at ProWrestlingNet. Jason, Final Battle, Jay Briscoe against Adam Cole for the ROH World Championship. How much are you looking forward to Final Battle? And this is kind of interesting because it said Adam Cole's contract with ROH is expiring in December. Do you think if he does lose this match, do you think he'll be out of Ring of Honor?
No, I don't. In fact, I expect him to win the match and win that title would be my prediction on that. I think they really value Adam Cole, and I think he does have probably developmental options, but I just think when push comes to shove, they're going to take care of Cole, and he's going to be one of their major players. My excitement level for the pay-per-view it's not there. I don't know what it is. They just haven't really created much of a buzz yet. There's still time, but they're running out of time. I think it's going to be a really good show, and I enjoyed the last pay-per-view that they did, but they need to somehow create more of a not even just mainstream buzz, but buzz amongst the wrestling fans.
JR brings that up a lot as well. Like, it's cool that ROH has their fan base, and they do have phenomenal wrestlers. And sometimes with these shows, it's just there. Like, okay, I know there's a pay-per-view coming up, but it's like, okay, let it go past. Because I really think the loss of Kevin Steen has really hurt Ring of Honor, and also this Michael Elgin situation hasn't really done them any favors as well. But I hope they have a good pay-per-view. Two more things before we let me go, Jason. How was it get to be on the Ross Report? I bet that was something that crossed off your bucket list.
For Ross calling the New Japan show, was that it?
No, you being the guest on the Ross Report.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, absolutely. That was great. I was honored to do the show with Jim Ross. Obviously, just a legendary voice, my personal favorite all-time announcer, and just a really good guy. So I was very flattered that he invited me, and seems like the door is open to doing it again. And I'll definitely have Jim on .net Audio as well at some point. So, a real treat for me personally.
And one last thing before we let you go. What 3 big matches from WrestleMania you think will go down this year?
Ooh, boy, that's kind of the $1 million question right now. I guess the easy answer is probably Lesnar against Reigns, but I'm not as confident in that as most people are. I think we'll get our answer on that when Reigns gets back and we see just how they position him. Mm-hmm. I'll say Sting wrestles. I don't know if it's against Taker. If it's not against Taker, I'll say Bray Wyatt more so than Triple H, even though that's a match that's been thrown out there too. And, Cena Rusev. It seems to be one that makes a lot of sense. If they save Rusev, keep him unbeaten, and then the American hero John Cena steps in.
I wouldn't mind it. I mean, it bring interesting storylines. I'll throw a couple out here. They got this rumor with Team Authority against Vince McMahon, that whole angle. John Cena against Triple H one more time, I think would be cool. I would think something with all three members of the Shield going against each other, I think would be something different. And then John Cena. Oh, I already said John Cena for Triple H. Daniel Bryan against Brock Lesnar, but I don't see that happening. But support Jason Powell on Twitter, Pro Wrestling Net, and check out his website, ProWrestling.net. And for anybody that's interested in being a writer for ProWrestling.net, how can people apply for that, Jason?
You can shoot me an email at dotnetjason@gmail.com. Yes, I can't just say .net Jason, or I actually have people trying to go with the period line. I try to limit the number of people, but that said, I mean, if the right person is out there, by all means, basically looking for people to help with television reviews on a weekly basis more than anything. So that's definitely the way to go about it. But we're always looking for correspondence for live events. If you're attending a show, indie or all the way up to WWE, we'd love to hear from you and get your help on that.
Jason, it was a pleasure to have you on the show, and I hope you enjoyed your time on the Pro Wrestling Experience, and hopefully we can do this again.
I'd love to. Thank you very much.